Good morning. Take a look at yesterday's green screens. I didn't take my Ipswich one. I forgot to press the save button, but we'll talk through that one. Got to lay Real Madrid at those odds. 1.09, 3-0 up. We know very well that Real Madrid can be a tad leaky, and we know very well that Man City's attack at its very best has a shed load of goals in it. But there's a low liability, well worth dipping your toe in, see whether City could turn up. Middlesbrough and Charlton, very well played. This one, all covered by insurance. No loss whatsoever. At the 0-1, had ample opportunity, Middlesbrough, to get an equaliser and push on. But guess where Charlton are in the league positions? Charlton take 3 away from 47. They're down to 44. Real booster to take them pretty clear. 9 points clear of the relegation zone. And most notably for Charlton, they've got still, while the entry point to the top 6 remains within the 50s range, if they win again, 2 consecutive wins for Charlton, win again, they're up to 50 points. And they're zooming into the top 12, which is unbelievable. So that's why we're going to get the odd anomaly, and that's why I do insurance. We played Norwich yesterday. This was a riskier play. Why was it riskier? 2.32 the favourite already. Blades, not too shabby at their best, but this was superb. InPlay stats to thank here. It was a night where I told members on Telegram that the InPlay stats were working. Missed out on a few plays, to be honest with you. Bradford opener in the first half, started to boss. And just the odd niggle like that, where Oxford United, for example, deserved that lead against Blackburn because they absolutely bossed the InPlay stats. So with that in mind, Norwich's stats started rising and rising consistently with that goal down against the Blades. Came back to a 1-1. That was your first cash out. 2-1. Nice cherry on top for a really good +1 return there. I think it was 47 quid in the +1 market for me, that return. Superb stuff. So well done to Norwich there. InPlay stats very solid yesterday. Champions League. Arsenal equaliser late on for those of you who fancied it. It was a penalty. I think I did that one yesterday. I went Arsenal +1, so the profit was not that great, but it had to be done. I couldn't envisage Bayer Leverkusen scoring 2 consecutive goals against a side who have had the most outstanding expected goals for a very, very long time. Bodo Glimt. Now, is this becoming too much of a coincidence for it not to be a coincidence? 3 goals against Inter Milan, 3 goals at home against Manchester City, 3 goals against Sporting Lisbon. I did warn you about the possibility of them going like this, and it would have been nice to have got a Sporting Lisbon opener yesterday. A good performance really from Chelsea to get back to 2-2, but the quality finally told. It could be a different story at Chelsea's home leg, where I think they'll be a lot more competitive, and they must score the first 3 goals, of course. Real Madrid and Man City. A very big surprise that Manchester City couldn't land a blow, and it's a reminder of their woeful away day at Bodo Glimt, wasn't it? Now, is that down to perhaps some injury concerns for Man City, the fielding of youngsters yet again in a Champions League environment? Not the ideal scenario for Mr. Gladioli. Let's have a look onto today's trading angles, and no research, but I will not be researching Europa League first legs or Conference League first legs. If you thought the Champions League was difficult to unpack the first legs, well, you ain't seen nothing yet. 2.45 the favourite starts off the coupon. 2.25, 2.1. Where's the odds on favourites? Nowhere to be seen, apart from Nottingham Forest against Midtjylland, and I still would possibly disagree with that. A new Forest manager, ill-equipped or inexperienced in Europe, but very, very impressive in their match against Fenerbahce, where his new attacking ideas really paid off. Midtjylland are the Danes, one of the Danes' finest sides in the Super League. They are a brilliant trading side in domestic competition. Remains to be seen how they perform against Nottingham Forest. Could be a case of the old Forest against Go Ahead Eagles type match where you could see both teams score. But I think the golfing class is quite clear for everyone to see. It's all a question of whether Nottingham Forest are vulnerable because of their two-pronged attack on the relegation fight. Lots of familiar names. Aston Villa's 2-goal habit is going to be tested away, as well as their inability to score one goal, or a second goal in the Premier League consistently enough recently, which has knocked their title ambitions out of the park. Very difficult to unpack Lille and Aston Villa and gauge. This is the problem, gauging these two sides against each other. Betis do have 2 goals in the locker at their very best. Stuttgart have been superb this season in Germany. Very difficult side to beat in Germany, but similarly, Porto were, when I last looked, on an unbeaten run in the Portuguese Superliga. Primeira Liga. Celta Vigo and Lyon. Celta Vigo have 2 goals in them at home at their very best, but again, gauging a lesser known French League side. How on earth do we unpack this? Ferencváros against Braga, 2.38 the favourite. I would have favoured the Portuguese, but then how do we weigh up Ferencváros? Genk, there's always a goal threat with Genk, and with Freiburg, you saw that 3-3 against Leverkusen at the weekend, there's always a goal threat from them. In-play stats is basically it, I'm afraid, for these first legs. That's why I'm not researching. 1 or 2 odds on favourites in the first 3. AZ Alkmaar against Sparta Prague, and Strasbourg, the French side, against the Croatians Rijeka. Shakhtar Donetsk, too tough to call. Samsunspor against Rayo Vallecano. Again, these sides are very rarely going to be meeting each other. How on earth do we evaluate them, apart from looking at the leagues only? Turkish against Spanish. Celje against AEK Athens, an odds-on favourite away from home, AEK. Crystal Palace, well, the last time they were 1.3 odds in this competition, they drew 1-1, I think, with Zrinski. So I wouldn't be too enamoured of that 1.22 quote for Palace. What you're going to get with AEK Larnaca, they're going to quite clearly park the bus. It's what Paphos do. It's what AEK Larnaca do. Fiorentina against Rakow. 1.8 home favourites. I think they got a 0-0 at the weekend. Fiorentina, they still have a touch of relegation itis about them domestically. Rakow are the Polish extra-class side. Again, could be anything, particularly against a very, very stuttering Fiorentina from SerieA. Sigma Olomouc from the Czech Republic. Mainz, that could be one to interest me. If Mainz continue in the form they've been in the Bundesliga, which is necessary form to get them out of jail, because they're in such deep doo-doo, or they were. But a quick run of wins has got them out of the relegation dogfight. They could relish this evening. Crystal Palace, by no stretch, bankers at all. As they could lay over 0.5 goals at the start of this match, you get a bit of value there. Just because I haven't done the research, here's a website you might want to look at for these matches this evening if you want somebody's opinion. In fact, there's 2 websites right in front of your eyes. You've got the previews here. And these are very, very well written. When we start our tennis trading in the summer, we're going to have the previews from tennis24.com, the sister site, and they are still excellent to read. So you've got hot stats if you want them, okay? I'm not going to be delving deep because my experience as a trader tells me it's the in-play stats that count for these first legs. And also, got to be cautious in trading because it's just half time, basically, the scorelines. This is what you might want to focus on, hot stats and streaks. Only one of Stuttgart's last 9 Europa League matches saw both teams score. 7 of Stuttgart's last 11 over 3.5 goals. But is that in all competitions or in this competition? That's a bit misleading. Porto conceded first in 4 of the last 6 Europa League matches. Scored exactly 1 in 5 of the last 7 competitive away games, i.e. Porto layable if leading. So if you like that, Soccer 24, read the previews, particularly the hot stats and streaks. But for me, it's all about what happens on the day. Go to 4bet.com, go to League, and if you want to read more about a match, these are from yesterday. We can go down and you can see a lot covered. So if you wanted to get an angle into a match that I haven't researched, this could be your good starting point. So we'll have a look at, I don't think they've got today's up yet. These are from yesterday. Here we go. They've got today's up. Let's have a look. So you go to League again. If not, I'll just show you one of yesterday's. Click it on. And you get a pretty detailed look at the teams. Last 6 matches. And notably, you can filter by competition, which is something Soccerway used to have. So this will give you an idea of their form in the Champions League, or their form recently. Could be hitting a buffer recently, or keeping a pattern going recently, like those clean sheets you can see there, but then that 3-3. So you've got these matches today. I'm new to this website, so I suppose clicking on Europa League, this will give you an angle to some of today's matches. Okay, they've gone for a prediction, home win. Up to you if you want to follow it. Lille win probability 36%. So this is just something extra for you if you fancied it. Okay, in what is a quiet evening from a research perspective. You've got the Europa League there, Europa League there. You can quite clearly see a pattern with Lille, and it's an attempt to keep the 1-0s. But they get undone by the likes of Celta Vigo. Now with Aston Villa starting to score 2 goals again in the Europa League, where they've been missing in the Premier League. Failure to score 2 goals, failure to score 2 goals. But which Aston Villa turns up today? 2, 2, 2, 2. Interesting, isn't it? Again, the quality of their opponents a lot weaker in these earlier stages. But I like this. 4bet.com. If you want an extra look or somebody else's eye on a particular match, you've got plenty of stats, but they are of course for all matches, not just for the Europa League matches. I like it. It's free. Trends as well have been scored under 2.5 have been scored in 3 most recent Europa League games for Lille. Aston Villa have run 5 straight wins in the Europa League. So this is Unai Emery's speciality. So they'll be targeting 2 goals this evening. But I thought I'd introduce you that. 4bet.com. Have a look round. Completely free. You can have a look at the predictions if you want. I don't tend to use other people's predictions, because when I lose money, I like to lose money on my own merit, not on some other idiot's merit. So that's 4bet for you. Well worth having a look at for tonight's Europa League and Conference League. Let's have a look at the Crystal Palace match before I go. So you can scroll your way down here. Crystal Palace against Larnaca. And you can see Crystal Palace's recent form and their recent Europa League form. And it's not the best. Injured as well, look. So if we have like Eddie Nketiah could be an important player in Europe, but he's out. Looking at recent form, a win against Tottenham, but my Grand's residential care home 11 could beat Tottenham. Scoring 2+ goals in 2 of the last 3 matches. So got the win against Ziristar, but that was a 1-1 at very short odds there. So up to you if you think home form is going to be matched today. Larnaca, let's have a look at Europa League. Oh, well, I was saying they're keeping it tight, but they look out of their depth. So I might have to readjust now, having looked at that. If Brann is scoring 6 against you, Crystal Palace with 5 goals in 2 in, well, a goal against Man United, who are a little more robust than Brann and Larnaca. So that's there for you. 4bet.com. For me, tonight is all about the in-play stats. It's as simple as that. That's how you play these second legs. It is effectively first half, remember. Do I have any ideas? Do I have any bankers this evening? Well, let's have a look. I would just add a cautionary star to Aston Villa in the hope that they rediscover their 2-goal form at home. I think that could be an interesting one. Not much else appeals to me. I can't have Nottingham Forest as strong odds on favourites, but if they continue in the same vein that they've continued with in the Premier League, they've met stubborn resistance in the likes of Liverpool, where their attacking intent hasn't been fulfilled. But then Fenerbahce was an eye-catching result. This could be similar today. Really is difficult to find a banker in the Conference League, isn't it? Mainz, I would just keep an eye on them, but I'm being a little mindful. And now Palace look a lot better proposition, don't they? With that heavy defeat against Brann for AEK Larnaca. But there's no bankers today, and bankers conceding first is where we've made all of our money since Saturday. So just bear that in mind. It's going to be a quiet evening this evening, I would suspect. So do make sure you join at Football Trading Profits. Subscribe, because the tennis will be with us soon. The summer leagues will be with us soon. I'll be doing specialty videos on those. And at the weekend, we've got the Premier League football returning. I've already done the research for the weekend, so I've got a fair idea of how to attack those matches. Free e-letter. Links are in the description. 14-day free trial if you've liked all of the profits I've made for members from Saturday onwards. Then give yourself a 14-day free trial and hope that I'm in as good form when you join up, so you get some nice free green screens. And hopefully you'll stay on, because you'll enjoy making the money. Have a great day. I'll see members from first kickoff today, but a warning, like the last 2 days, first legs are very, very difficult to have a trading angle on. We've had the likes of Barcelona and Arsenal requiring late penalties to get themselves on parity. So they would have taken a 1-0 loss, and that's the thing we have to think about. So insurance is vitally important as well. Have a great day, and I'll see members later on.